Hi, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. We will wait for just 2-3 minutes so that more participants can join, and accordingly we will start.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, I'm audible to everyone. So, I think now we have a sufficient number of participants. So, let's begin the webinar. I believe you can hear me, and all the participants would be hearing me as well. So, as Institute of Financial Accountants is always committed to deliver the online webinars on different topics. So considering such CPT requirements today, Mr. On is with us, and he will be touching the different areas on how we can master ourselves in the financial modeling. Uh, so I'll just brief very little bit about Mr. On, then he will have a detailed introduction of himself. So Mr. On is basically having more than 15 years of experience in investment banking, public and private partnerships, and transaction advisory, where he along with his core knowledge, and he was also working on the financial modeling and strategic decision making. So he is MSc in Accounting and Finance from University of Northampton, UK, and he achieved different distinction in investment analysis. So hopefully and inshallah, we everyone will get the benefit of this webinar from his basically from On's knowledge and experience. So over to you, Mr. On.
Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing great.
And today we are going to jump into the financial modeling masterclass. And just let me open the slides with you so can all. I think you all can see now.
Yeah, I can. It's visible
Uh,
to me.
okay. Okay. So before we jump into it, I would like to just give you a brief introduction of what's this all about. First of all, financial modeling is a very basic Excel based tool that we can use as a financial analyst, as a data analyst, or as a uh, uh, in any field that we use Excel, we definitely use some data modeling. So first of all, about myself. Well, as Salman briefed you about my experiences, one thing that I would like to highlight in this introduction of mine, a brief introduction of mine, is that I've been doing financial modeling for the past 15 years, and my forte basically is primarily building dashboards for the financial modeling, and also the basic financial model itself. So my financial models are a bit different than usually you see around yourself, because I focus more on the dashboards so that it's the user or the client will get more insightful data and insightful knowledge on one window rather than scrolling to multiple windows. So as we know that the financial model users are not necessarily the Excel wizards. So we need to have a focus on the audience that don't use Excel much, like startups. The problem arises when I build financial model for startups is that their lack of knowledge for the Excel and the finance itself because they have some technical background or engineering background. So my objective is to show them all the variables and all the impact of those variables in one window, so they can have a good cockpit view and they can make sound decisions using that. So I was nominated in the Financial Modeling Innovation Award 2020. That was conducted by Gridlines Infrastructure Analytics, and it was also co-sponsored by Financial Modeling Institute. So this is the basic outline that we are going to follow today. Well, I would like to use more of a practical approach towards this thing rather than going through the slideshows and going through all the knowledge that's available all over the place in the books, in the videos, on YouTube's or any other platform that people uses to learn uh, online. So first is the approach. So once, for instance, we are assigned to build a financial model for, let's suppose, an energy company. So our first task or our first thing that we do before jumping to the Excel and start building the financial models is primarily we design our process of building the financial model. And the first thing that comes to our mind is how we design or what is the objective of that financial model. It's not just about building three statement financial model like income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows. But we also need to know as a financial modeler or as a data analyst, we need to know what the business does and how and what information we need to put forth to the client or the user of the financial model or the data model. That is very pivotal for making sound decisions. So first we see what types of financial models are there. Uh, and The objective of showing you these types of financial model is to give you an idea that all the financial models or all the data models are more or less the same. We just tweak one or two things and we name it so that we remember that we have built something for an LBO, we built something for an M&A, we built something for a public-private partnership project, we built something for a startup model, we built for IPO or things like that. So first, as you can see, the basic one is the financial statements model, which is basically the depiction of future cash flows of the business in terms of the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. The second one is the valuation model. It is used for valuing the company. We have different methods of valuation like comparables, DCF, and net asset value, or any other method that we opt to use for some spin-off transactions or some acquisition transactions. Then we have M&A models, we have budgeting and forecasting models, we have risk and sensitivity analysis models, we have optional pricing models, we have credit risk models, portfolio management models, real estate models, economic industry models, and so on and so forth. There's a long list of financial models. But typically, if we classify these models into 4 or 5 broad categories, because we need to know that what are the key aspects that are common in all those models that we discussed earlier. And if we classify all those things into 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of financial model, it would be easier for us to know that we know all kinds of financial model rather than focusing on the one aspect. Like I only know startup model, I don't know how project finance works, or if someone asks you to build a corporate finance or a public-private partnership model, then you would not be, I mean, you won't feel surprised that, oh, I don't know about it. No, you know about everything if you know about these certain areas, and you can easily create one. So we have startup valuation model, we have M&A models, IPO models, leverage buyouts, budgeting forecasting, PPP models, and project finance models. So all these models are more or less structured in a same way or designed in a same way. But the most important thing of all is the approach that you adopt to build this financial model, and it all starts from the overall planning process. Because if you're following a good planning process to know about the business itself, it helps you a lot in building the financial model, because there are things that are very specific and very typical to any particular industry or business segment that needs to be catered in our financial model. For instance, we have a startup model for agriculture, we have a startup model for edtech, for SaaS, for e-commerce, or for any other company. But the core principle will remain the same, but their specific KPIs will be different in all these business areas. And as a financial modeler or as a data modeler, we need to focus on those areas so that we give some good insights of the business to the client or to the sponsors of that project. So, well, I always start with a planning process of to know how the business operates, or how what are the key aspects of these business that I need to focus on. And for that, I always recommend to have a lean canvas approach, in which on one side we have product and services, on the other side we have the market to whom we are going to sell those products. So we have a problem, which means we have an opportunity of why we are doing this business. Then we have a proposed solution for that. We have a market segment that will acquire our product or services. Then we have channels through which we are going to market that product or service that we are offering. Then we have a cost structure, and now the things that any model would love comes in, like, oh, cost structure means I need to model cost into the financial model, whether it's a budgeting, it's an LBO or an M&A transaction. I need cost structure, that what are the initial cost of doing business, what are the recurring costs, what are the periodic cost. So I need to know these details. So I ask the client that please provide me these cost estimates, because I'm not a technical guy. I only know finance, and I can help you in building the model, but I need to acquire knowledge of the business so that my business acumen enhances and I can support you well. So we have cost structures, that's one part. Then we definitely have key performance metrics, which is like in any startup. If you take for example, like we have LTV, we have CAC, customer acquisition cost, we have lifetime value of the customer, we have ARR, annual recurring revenue, and all that things. And if you're doing some project finance or some other PPP projects, then you need to know about debt service coverage ratios, project life cycle ratios, and what are the key financial metrics like IRR and PV and payback periods of that project is. then about the business, that what are the key advantages that the business holds, that the product or the service holds. Then we have revenue streams. It's very important to know the revenue stream of the business so that we can model them accurately into our financial model. And while doing it, the aspects that we have mentioned above will help a lot. That what is the market segment? Because revenue, what's revenue is very simple. Quantity minus price is equals to our revenue. But what from where the Q will come, the quantity Q will come, it's very important. And to know that, we need to know about the market, and then the price comes afterwards. And then what's the value proposition that the business is offering. So if you focus on the top area from problem to market, you know the business. From the bottom area, cost structure and the revenue streams, you know how to model them. So once you grasp this thing, you plan your journey to building the financial model. Next is the financial standards. So IFRS or GAAP, there is no other standard that you build on your own thing. Or and here's a big example of how Excel's failure in the London whale debacle. Uh, it's basically uh, a JP Morgan's 6 billion trading loss. It occurs in uh, by the mistake of a financial model. One key element of that debacle is a mistake done by the financial modelers. It's a quant based financial model that's been handled by a financial modeler, and who is building VAR models for the JP Morgan client. So, and the error occurred because of one sum error, sum function, which is a very common function in Excel. Since our model is divided into many sheets, like 10, 20, 30, 40 sheets, so it's they are prone to errors. So there is, I mean, there is a big chance that error might come because we are humans, and when we interact with something, that thing is exposed to errors or any mistakes that we may involve in. So it's just a copy pasting error from what the modeler is to copy data from one sheet and paste it on another using macro or a manual process. But the thing is that they don't have enough checks in place so that they can see that the copied data is equal to the pasted data, means that both the data are same. So because of that, the it cost $6 billion in trading loss to the JP Morgan. So we can assume that if there are some checks in place in that particular VR model, it can be avoided. So when it comes to standard, there are few famous financial modeling standards. The core or the key element of these standards are the same, is to enhance the auditability of the financial model, to make it more transparent, and to make it more agile for future changes that may arrive as we proceed with the transaction or with the project. So we have fast financial modeling standards, and it's widely accredited by ICAEW. We have Correlity Academy of Australia, and Mazars definitely encourages to use these Correlity Academy smart financial modeling standards. Then we have PwC's Global Financial Modeling Guide. And we have two more, like Best Practicing Model and the Financial Modeling Institute's Best Practices in the Financial Modeling. So we are just going to focus on the key areas of the fast financial modeling standards, because more or less all these four standards are same, with slight tweaking or slight naming differences. The core essence is the same, the core idea is the same. So if you look at the fast financial modeling standards, so fast means flexible, accurate, structured, and transparent. So when we say flexible, it means that it's flexible to accommodate any changes in the immediate term and in the long term as well. While the model we built is going to be used by many modelers, we know about it. That in an organization where we work, we develop the model, and what if we left the organization? Who is going to handle it? So it needs to be adaptable to any change that might incur in the longer term or in the immediate term. For accuracy, I mean, mostly is a tool that will answer all of the questions that's in my mind, and with a click of a button, we can uh, capture any eventuality that might occur in that business. But that's not the truth, because there is no such thing as I mentioned that all singing and all dancing template. There's no such thing, and there is no any button in the financial model that will cater for any eventuality in the business. So we need to be accurate while we assume, and we need to put limitation on our thinking as well. We cannot capture everything into that business model because it's not a reality. It's an echo of a reality. So if we try to capture every minute detail in our financial model, it will become more and more complicated. It will become more complicated rather than being complex. Complex is bearable, but complications are not bearable. So it needs to be structured. For instance, we build our sheet in a very consistent manner. The flow of information is from left to right. It's not from right to left, and so on and so forth. We can discuss it later. It needs to be transparent. They are what usually people do. They created mess of a sheet. They have some hard-coded values randomly placed in the formulas. They have some hidden rows, hidden columns. So financial modeling standards uh, promotes that we don't use hard-coded values. But if in some instances that we have to use, we need to have a good color coding for that, so that while we use the financial model, we know that okay, this color means it's an hard-coded value, and there must be a rationale behind it why it's hard-coded. So we need to create a log for that as well. So now, a bit about the structure and the flow of the financial model. So basically, the financial model framework is about the fast financial modeling framework is about the standardized way to build the financial model. And if we from a holistic view, if we see, there are three typical types of sheets. That's input sheets, completion sheets, and output sheets. So as an if just input means any assumption that we take or any assumption that we put in place to make uh, the future projections are going to be in those areas or in those sheets. It's not necessarily that we have only one sheet. That's the input sheet. We can have multiple input sheets, and we can name them and we can color code them so that the user will know that these are the sheets in which I need to provide input, and then we move to the calculation sheets, and then we move to the output sheets. I have added one thing on my own, which is a dashboard. Since as we evolve, we got data from multiple sources for multiple uses as well. So putting data in one place and making dashboards is a challenge nowadays. And while we use Excel more often than not in offices and in colleges or in any place that we work, it's easily accessible, and it's a thing that's already installed in our laptop, and we don't need to learn any new skill, any new language to operate it. So it's very helpful if you build dashboards on Excel. So it's easier to understand. So basically, in any financial model, we definitely have one sheet, that's the instruction sheet, which shows about what's happening in the whole financial model. What are the sheets that are in this model? Uh, how to interact with the cells? What are the cells we use for inputting? What are the cells that we use for uh, calculation and from where we see the grand totals. So if you look at the, if we take an example of a greenfield project, let's suppose it's a road project, it's a greenfield public-private partnership project. So what are the common sheets that we build on these lines from like input, calculation and output, which is foundation, calculation and output. So we have assumptions regarding capex, regarding the financing structure, the sources of funds, the O&M assumptions, the revenue assumptions, the macroeconomic, for instance, assumptions like, for instance, forex movement, depreciations, or any inflation that we need to capture in that financial model. And yes, we need to have a good sensitivity analysis and the scenario analysis as well. Then we move to the main calculation block, which is the creation of the sheets like project cost curves, the funding sources and its uses. Then we have a depreciation schedule, that's fixed asset schedule. Then we have O&M, revenue and taxation and inflation and indexation things. And then we move to the output sheets, which is primarily the three financial statements. And if needed, then we may create a discounted cash flow valuation report, and we have some cash flow waterfalls for cash sweep mechanisms as the transition evolves. So if we see when we see a financial model that's scattered on like 20 or 10 or 15 sheets, it's very overwhelming for us to grasp from where the data is coming and how do we find the right spot where we tweak it and the impact goes to the end. So if we look at any project finance transaction and any public-private partnership transaction, any uh, transaction which involve loans or which involves greenfield projects, we see that we primarily have three things in any business. For instance, we need capex, we need revenue, and we need O&M. When I say any business, it means any business. For instance, if we are uh, selling cups to our business is selling cups, so we need to acquire those cups, that's capex. We need to pack them and then we need to sell them, so that's opex and revenue. If we are into some uh, energy project, let's suppose wind project, we need capex, like we need wind turbines and other equipments to be installed. We need some recurring O&M expenses, and we need some revenue assumptions. For instance, the electricity we produce, we're going to sell it to someone and to at a certain price. So these are the three things that have majority impact on the sheets that we build. So in this color coding that I OPEX, the O&M or the OPEX, have the minimal impact on the sheets that we build in one financial model. But the capex is the main item that we model, and it's a bit tricky as well. But if we follow a structure, if we follow a planned process and a structure, it's easier to capture all the elements that's involved in that capex. For instance, we need to build a wind farm for we have energy budget and it's a wind farm. So with regard to revenue, there's only two line items. One is the kilowatt hours produced. The other one is the unit price per kilowatt. That's it. We don't need much information in that area. With regard to the OPEX, we have one, for instance, the impact of OPEX is only on the two items in the income statement. That's the cost of goods sold and then the operating cost. Yes, it has some impact while devising the working capital change, or while assessing the change in working capital due to the due to the variability in the collectibles and the payables and the receivables. But the core impact is on the on the three line items on two key financial statements, that's financial income statement and the cash flow statements. But most of the work is done on the capex side, because we need, let's suppose our plant costs like $10 million. We need to find sources to fund those $10 million. We need the timing of the cash flows, which means that we will not be incurring that $10 million in one go. We would be needing a curve, like it's basically an S-shaped curve, the spending curve. And we would definitely be tagging that with our financing structure so that we know that how and when we are going to need the financing. Then from the financing structure, we get to know about our loan schedules, that if it's financed by some commercial lenders or some other financial institute, or it's going to be financed primarily by some equity sponsors or some other the financing. Then we have depreciation schedules from the fixed asset, income statement, cash flow, and then the balance sheet. So you see the the most important element of all is how you model the capex, because in any of the modules that we discussed, whether it's startup, LBO, M&A, and all that things, you will find it difficult or challenging to model these key sheets. But once you follow the structured guideline or the structured approach, you know the impact, that how it translates into multiple sheets, then you are in control. So, as per the FAST guidelines, the formula structure is, I've just taken three key points that I've noticed that people don't focus much on these points, because we think we are an Excel guru. If we write our formula on 536 lines, we use nested if and again nested if and then again nested if and make it more complicated. And we think that we are a wizard of Excel because our formula is like this big and on multiple rows. But no, FAST advises us strongly to use the rule of thumb, which means your formula should not exceed the size of your thumb on the formula bar, or it should not take more than 24 seconds to explain. If it's taking more than 24 seconds, or if it's more than the size of your thumb, then you need to revise it. You may break it into multiple rows. There is no stopping you. You may break it into multiple rows and then you build a formula. So, but in one cell, don't use formula that's on multiple lines. It's very difficult to audit. It is very, the likelihood of errors are increased in those formulas, and it's not advisable at all. Then this thing that I always, as a financial model myself, my first priority is to do that, is to build the financial model for that client and to use it for future clients as well. So how can I build a model that's easily changeable and usable for other transactions of the same nature? For instance, if we go back to this slide, this fixed asset schedule, I mean, fixed asset schedule has depreciation or amortization, or the capital work in progress details, and the WDV of any asset-based business. So why not, if I build it separately, and I got all these key sheets like financing structure, fixed asset schedule, loan schedule, and equity schedule, or S curve, or any other sheet I am assigned to do a project, I can combine them and I can build a model using those sheets. So that's what I call a modular approach, in which you build each sheet of the financial model in a way that it can be extracted and used somewhere else. So why it's helpful? Because it simplifies the process of creating a sheet for any other transaction. It also removes the chances of errors, because you have used it multiple times and you have assessed it multiple times, so that the chances of errors are very low in that area. Now the dashboards. So before we jump into the dashboards, I would like to share some of the dashboards that I have prepared previously. So this is one of the project. I think you can now see another screen. Yeah. So as you can see, this is one of the financial model that I have built for a client, and I have scrambled the number. So don't go there and don't invest your money in it because it's all here right now. So as you can see on the left panel, I have created some tabs so that any user can see about the assumptions that are used in this financial model. For instance, they want to see timelines. What are the key timelines? What is the start date? What is the end date? What is the commercial debt date? What is the sub debt repayment date? What is the major overall when they're required? And what are the key project cost items if you break down into EPC, non-EPC, IDC, and working capital? So if you want to look at the details of each item, we click on it, and it shows in the form of a chart that you can see here. So this is the project cost of that when and how what is the amount that is required at the end of the month, and how are we going to plan to finance the project, the financing structure. It's a mix of debt or equity, or there are other sources, and what is the cost of those sources, and what is the frequency of repayments and things like that. Then we have financials, and this is very important because if you see that we have these number of sheets at the bottom, and going through each of them to know the balance sheet, the income statement on monthly basis, on annual basis, it's a bit of a mess for someone who is new to the business, or who is new to the, sorry, not the business, who is new to the Excel, because most, as I discussed earlier, that most of the business owners don't waste time in these sheets because it's not fruitful for them to go into each of the sheet and to see that what's happening. So why not we just give the client a snapshot in one go, like this one. You can see the income statement here for the next 20 years, and you can see the key ratios, how they move when we change to the next 5 years. You can click on the cash flow statements, balance sheet, and the DCF. These are all the extracts from the financial model. You can see the returns.
So basically, on I have a question here myself. Like, so this dashboard is also developed in Excel itself.
Yeah, it's totally built on Excel. There is no other add-in or any other
Dashboard.
tool in. Yeah. So as you can see, I have put in summary so that you can see in one snapshot that what's happening with the business. What are the key assumptions regarding the construction period, the O&M period, the financing structure, the project cost, and what are the key outputs. As specific to the business, they will change. Like in this, uh, we need to show that what the landowner is earning, what is developer earning potential, and what is investor's earning potential. So, and we have put in switch that we have different models in place, so we can navigate through the each of the model and we can see the results. And there you can see the chart on the top right corner. It's in the shape of a bat, that whenever something changes, it need to resolve some circular references, and it shows that these two sheets are not matched. So you click on it, check, and it will resolve it. And then, yes, as I mentioned earlier in the first, that our approach is to all the revenue and the O&M assumptions. So these are the key revenue generators for the project, and we can see in one go from these areas we are earning money. If you go down here, you can see the color coded cells with red font are the key input areas. So you can simply provide your input here and it will change on the way. But if you go down, you won't be able to see the returns. So I have a quick panel on the top. You can click on the cost or the returns or the equity. So you can see by changing anything what impacts that this have on the financial model. So it's one of the example that you can create. And for ease of navigation, I have put in tabs so you can easily jump onto sheets, go back, output. So rather than scrolling through all the sheets here or using keyboard uh, to navigate through all the sheets, you can simply go and see the sheets from here as well. And yes, for the ease of, I mean, the objective is to give comfort to the user or to the client that he can print as well. So you just click on it print, and it will create a PDF file for the key financial statements. This is one comprehensive project, but what if we are not building such comprehensive financial models? We just need to see whether the business is viable or not, and then proceed with developing the other models. So we have some startups model as well, like this one.
So
So
on, we have
as you
one person, EAM, who has a question. I'm allowing him to talk.
okay, okay.
Yeah, his mic is
Yes,
open.
I was saying that these are very useful and practical lessons. And are we going to have access to the slides for the presentation?
Yeah, you will have access to the presentation, but not to these models. But the slides which we presented, that will be shared upon conclusion of this webinar, or it may take maybe it could be shared via email around Monday or upcoming Monday or Tuesday to all the participants along with the recording link as well.
Very well noted. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the one that's being built for a SaaS company, and it has offices in different regions. So you can see that I have added pivot charts and pivot tables as well. But the core thing that you should be able to recognize by now, that we are not moving away from one sheet. We are just saying it on one sheet. We're just like any software. So let me just give you another example quickly, and we just jump into how do we create these things. So this is one example for an industrial park projects. So as you can see, there's a project summary of it, and you can change the variables, and you can see the impact on the left side. I'm not going to dive into the details of the project, but you can see that if we change the government sharing on phase one, if we reduce the amount of the sharing, our equity requirement goes down as well. So this is one way of looking at it. Then we have project area. That what is the total area of the project? I mean, these are all the key business variables that are unique to any business, but this is one way of presenting it. And since they are interactive, so you can see the different, for instance, if we go with the low cost assumption, then this is the price per acre. If you go with the high cost, then it will change, sorry, cost per acre. If you go with the high range or mid range or any other uh, variable that we have put in, so it will change. These are the funding requirements, the total funding, and from where the funding will come as well. These are the equity returns. It's basically a DNA sort of chart that initially uh, we don't have any returns, but we need to inject some funds, and then uh, eventually once we achieve the construction of the project, we will get some money, and at the end we will have more than what we have spent already. And you can see here that these green lights are the checks of the financial model, that the curve is right, the interest during construction assumptions are properly in place, or the balance sheet is also balancing. If it's not, it will turn red in itself, and we can clear it from here. So coming back to the slides. So these are just the key uh, importance of building the dashboard and the benefits of the dashboard. I would not go into these text. Rather than I would like to jump into the Excel sheet so that we can see how these dashboards are created. So the way I look at Excel is very different. I look at it as a canvas. That this is a canvas, and I need to build a dashboard on it. And I have some variables, and I have a bunch of charts with me. For instance, let me just uh, quick search for some charts so that I can paste them. For instance, I have this oh, I have this chart here. This is one chart. So I'm just going to tweak it. I just copied it from Google. So this is our sales expense and profit chart. There's one chart here, and we have some more chart. Let's suppose I'm just copying another one from Google as well, for instance. This one, I think that's better. This, this is the second chart. And let's go and find a third one. These are the three charts that we're going to use. Yeah. So we are working on an Excel sheet, and we have data, and we created these fancy charts using our knowledge of Excel. But the problem is that we were unable to find a place to put all this together. For instance, this one. So if we reduce the size, it will lose its impact or value, and it's barely readable. So we need to be assured that we show all the charts in one go, and all of them looks big. So for instance, this one, this is the sites that is recommended by our client, that all charts will be visible. It needs to be visible. So this is one way of doing it. So now the trick comes. We know that everything has a name. I have a name. My name is On Muhammad. You have a name. All the participants have some name, and we have names for the cell as well. That this one is known as B3, Mr. B3. This one is Mr. D3. So why not these shapes? These shapes do have name. It's picture 3, and it's picture 2, and it's picture 1, as you can see on the left side. And there's one more function in Excel, PowerPoint, or Word, whatever you want to use, is that we can add multiple shapes like this one here, and this heart shape here. And we can combine them using group feature on the format tab, and we can name them. Like it's right now it says group 7, but we can say uh, on's favorite underscore favorite. This is my favorite shape. So this is my favorite shape. This is chart picture 1, picture 2, picture 3. So now the trick comes. So what we need to do, just delete it. Serially. We need to show one chart at a time to the client, because the client has some sort of phobia of seeing multiple charts in one sheet. So the client requests us to just show one chart at a time. Yeah. So as you can see, these are the key charts that we need to show one at a time. We are going to use some macros in it, but believe me, macros are just another thing in Excel. There is no rocket science in learning macros. So what we do, we just go to the file options in the customize ribbon tab, and if it is not checked, initially it is not checked, but I am using it, so that's why I have checked it. Just check it and press OK. You can see the developers tabs here in the home tab, and in it you can just write record macro. Right now, what I will do, I will click on the shape, go to picture format, selection pane, and hide it. So whatever I'm doing is being recorded right now. So we just stop the recording and go to the Visual Basic tab, and here we see our macros in the module. So sorry. So as you can see, that these are the key steps that we took in the while making these moves, that we click on the shape which is known as picture 2. As you can see, picture 2, we selected it. First thing that we did was selecting it. Then what we did, we make its visibility to false, which means we hide it. Then we click on picture 3 and we hide it also. Then we click on picture 3 and we make it we unhide it, and then picture 2 we unhide it. So this is what's being recorded, right? So if we just, this is what we are doing. So now we need to create a macro and we need to assign a button to it, right? So in the insert tab on the in the insert option on the developer tab, you see these buttons. For control, these are easy. You don't need any coding language or any coding experience to do that. But if you go for the ActiveX, you need something to write to operate it. So we just click the easiest one here and just we cancel it. So this is the button one. We would like to name it as show pie chart. I'm just naming it, and just copy and paste it, and we just rename it to show fixed and naming 2020 spending. We just use this one here. And the third one is sales expense and profit. We will just name it as sales expense and profit. So these are the three charts. So now we are building a dashboard that shows these three charts as we want it. Now, first step is, as we know that this is the code that's been written uh, while we were recording our moves. So we know that active sheets shape picture 2.select means whenever we want to switch to write, whenever we want to hide a picture, we need to write this line. So these are the three lines that we need to remember. So first of all, we remove the other two ones and we just keep one of them. And in macros, you can place a comma and you can write whatever you want and it will take as a comment. So it will not be part of the code. So I'm just writing it of step 1 equals select the desired shape. That is our step 1, right? So what is that? This code is our step. We go down and we write step 2 hide the unwanted shape. And then we go on with same thing as step 3 equals show the desired shape. So here this is just formatting the right one. I mean, it won't have any impact if I go like this and that. So, but it looks good if it's in proper shape. So this is we're going to just rename the macro to show shape 1. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier that we can rename the shapes as well. So when we say pie chart, this we're going to name it going here and selection pane. This is picture 2 as it's been highlighted. So we are going to just rename it to pie chart. Pie underscore chart. This is pie chart. This one is the fixed and living 2020 spending. So we're just going to fixed living 2020. The name of this one is fixed living. We have just renamed it. This one is one, but we are going to rename it to sales expense profit. But it's better to keep it 2-3 words like sales chart. Just remember it's fixed living chart. This one is pie chart. I'm just removing the underscore. So we have these 3 charts, 1, 2, 3. So first button, what the first button will do, it will only show the pie chart and hide the other 2 charts. Like so the first one is the show underscore pie underscore chart. You can now write with spaces in the macro step. So you put an underscore whenever you think that the space is needed. This is our first chart. What we are going to do, we are going to click on the shape, which is, we just renamed it to pie chart. Then what we will do, we will hide the unwanted shapes, which is the name is fixed living chart. Fixed living chart. The other one is sales chart. So we need to hide 2 of these. So we will copy one and we rename it to sales chart. Sales chart. The third one is desired shape. Desired shape is pie chart, I guess. We need to make sure that things are also correct. So it's better to write tiny words than these big lines like fixed living chart. I mean, it's better if we like some FLC or something like that. So now when I find a macro yet, so I need to right click on it, go to assign macro. So you will see this one macro coming here, show pie chart. And if I click on it, it will only show this pie chart. Now the rest of the 2 charts are hidden and we need to make them visible as well. So we will copy this here, we'll paste here and we'll write the name is the sales, for instance, sales chart. And we will add here sales chart. We will remove the sales chart from the hidden tab and we will write pie chart. And we will change this one as sales chart. We will assign the macro to right click, assign macro, sales. This one. Once we click on it, show debug. Why debug? Because okay, we since this sales chart is hidden, so we cannot select it because it's hidden. So what we will do, we will remove this line from here, click debug, and this line also from here, because step 1, why why we use this step 1 is to show you how to hide them. So we don't need anymore. So we will just remove it. It helps us to keep the code lower. So if you click on it, now it shows, yeah. This is the pie chart and this is the sales chart. So we just place it here. Now we need fixed expense living chart, which is the third one. We copy this one and paste it here. We show fixed living chart, FLC. So we make it, we hide it in the first one. We copy here and we paste it here, and we copy sales chart from here and just we paste it here. So if we go to this one and right click and assign macro to FLC, it should behave properly. Yeah. So here are the three charts. So you can see that the user is able to see only what uh, he or she intended to see, and the rest is hidden. So it's there, but it's hidden. And now you can create your own imagination, like I did with the creating dashboard, like creating borders, for instance, this one, and you can just give it an outline, and this is your charting area, and or you can click here, you can move it here to your get your banner sort of thing here, and you can play along with these things. So I'm going to save this worksheet as well so that and it can be shared with you with the presentation, so you can play along with this one. So if we go back to our slides and just wrapping it up. Now you can see the key benefits of using this technique. The first one is
So on,
it enhances.
I
Yeah.
think for a long time we had CK, Mr. CK raising his hand. So
Okay.
if he has any question, yes, I'm allowing you to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm requesting him to unmute if he has any question. Yes, hello. You want to speak, Mr. CK Lamb? I mean, they should write their full name. Yeah. So you are unmute if you want to speak. Okay, I think let's proceed.
Okay. I'm just closing since we have achieved our time. So the benefit of this technique is it enhances your decision making because you can see real time insights. It will increase your efficiency because you don't need to put all the charts in one window and just bombard the client with with charts, or you don't want to just startify them. I mean, just it's better to just give one information in one go, and you can create multiple blocks of information if you want. Then it also have some competitive advantage for you because you can now differentiate yourself by creating visually attractive dashboards, and you can satisfy your clients' needs if there are any. And yes, scalability. This thing or this approach is very scalable. It can be used not only in the financial model, but on any other data model that's based on Excel. So you need no other knowledge other than basic charts, shapes, and all that, and the color coding things. So it will be really helpful for you to if you start incorporating these dashboards into your financial model. So I think we can ask for Q&As. Yes, someone please.
Uh, yes, so if anyone has question, um, yeah, it's not that kind of technical topic like IFRS, which we previously delivered, but it's a different topic. So if anyone has further question, please you can ask. Either you can type. I think we have 3, 4 questions already in Q&A. Regarding okay, so CKLM, I think you can speak. Okay. Yeah, you are on mute, but we cannot hear you. Yeah, we cannot hear you still. Okay. So, yeah, actually, okay. So, regarding the video, we will upload on our YouTube channel. It's the Institute of Financial Accountants YouTube channel. You will get the all the recordings over there, along with the presentation will be shared through email as well as the video recording link. Okay. So anyone else, if has any question, otherwise we'll give our closing remarks and then we'll move on. Most of the participants, the feedback I received, personal messages that they are asking if we can have training sessions. So yes, we are also planning different courses for this financial modeling, which will be ranging from the startup to advanced version. So soon we will also advertise, as well as we may have a session or two further to give some more concepts on financial modeling. So the things will be planned, and please stay in touch with us over social media or LinkedIn or through our WhatsApp group. So if there is no more further questions, so I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the incredible webinar presentation and the demonstration you delivered on. And your energy and enthusiasm made this session enjoyable and informative for us. The way you try to simplify the complex concept, as you mentioned, not to be complicated, but to make it complex is okay, but complicated is not okay. So the way you simplified the complex concepts and offered the participants particular examples, so these resonated to us, even I can say to me and all the participants. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and inspiring us with your knowledge. So everyone, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the weekend for who has joined us from the Europe or from the Americas region, and best of luck for the working day for who has joined us from the GCC or so. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
John. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.